The sponsor of my stream and podcast is DistroKid. If you want 10% off on your first subscription with DistroKid, release your music to the world on every major music platform. Make sure to go to my website, andrewvanzark.com, and click on the discount link under the tab of DistroKid.
You don't know the power of the dark side.
Welcome to Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Vanzark. Now you're listening to Power. The information on this podcast is my opinion and some internet research. Hello and welcome to the Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Vanzark, and now you're listening with Power. Power to the music, may the force be with you. So today we're going to talk about the 10 best songs of Star Wars. So let's get started. Number 10, Across the Stars, from Attack of the Clones. The most memorable piece of music composed for Attack of the Clones, which manages to sound like a lost classical masterpiece, yet still very Star Wars. A grand romantic work, Across the Stars, succeeds on numerous levels. Its melody hits a balance between melancholy and feeling of longing, and the powerful use of strings convey what the forbidden love between Anakin and Padme means for both characters and the galaxy. The idea of a Star Wars love song or composition seems almost impossible, but John Williams pulled it off. Number 9. The Emperor Arrives, Return of the Jedi. Accompanying our first real look at the Emperor as he arrives on the Death Star in Return of the Jedi, there is no life or punch to this composition compared with the iconic Imperial March or other Empire-centric music. The melody here is simple, dark, and foreboding, driven by, for the first time in Star Wars, a male choir, adding by a new aural color to Star Wars. The piece would be revised at the film's climax and appeared in different arrangements throughout the prequel trilogy. Utterly haunting, The Emperor Arrives is the sound of the dark side. Number 8. The Asteroid Field, The Empire Strikes Back. John Williams' Star Wars music is as much about emotions and mood as it is technical ingenuity of the composition, and The Asteroid Field is a perfect example. Primarily a brass piece, it has a frantic pace accomplished through rising and falling notes that give the music a roller coaster-like feel, which is probably why it works so well in the roller coaster of Star Tours. It matches the chaos that you'd imagine navigating an asteroid field would yield, and the serene turn at the piece takes when the sequence ends is a almost magical payoff. Number 7. Battle of the Heroes, Revenge of the Sith. As the soundtrack to the Anakin vs. Obi-Wan duel from Revenge of the Sith, Battle of the Heroes is one of the Star Wars saga's most important compositions. Combining a choir, staccato brass, and a lush strings, the music is rich and full, but has a solemn yet anxious tone. It's unique from the other duels of music in the film, but also recalls certain aspects of older pieces. The vocal from Duel of Fates, the string brass from Luke vs. Darth Vader in The Empire Strikes Back, giving the sequence the weight it deserves. Number 6. Princess Leia's theme, A New Hope. Debuting A New Hope, but recruiting in The Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, and Revenge of the Sith, Princess Leia's theme has emerged as one of the most recognizable music passages in all of Star Wars. Both gentle and sweeping, the string-driven arrangement stands alone in Star Wars music by dialing back the energy and faster rhythms of the action scenes. Only Across the Stars comes close to wonder of this track. And when you think of Leia, you probably hear this composition in your head, a true testament to its power. Number 5. Yoda's theme, The Empire Strikes Back. If the Emperor arrives, it's the sound of the dark side. This is the sound of the light side. String builds from a whisper to a multi-layered crescendo, but always with a malevolent air. The music here is calm, but confident, and strong, but not too aggressive. Essentially, it mirrors what Yoda says a Jedi must be. To illustrate how brilliant this composition is, note its use in the sequence where Yoda lifts Luke's sunken X-Wing from Dagobah's swamp, where it's strings and powerful. Then see Yoda's death scene in Return of the Jedi, where the same melody becomes pure gentle. Just amazing work from John Williams. Number 4. Binary Sunset, A New Hope. One of the most iconic pieces of music in Star Wars, period. For many, the scene in which Luke gazes at the setting suns of Tatooine is what makes Star Wars. But maybe more than any other sequence in all of 6 films, the music is essential. The image of the setting suns conveys the passage of time. Luke is getting older, and there are things he wants to experience and do. There is an entire galaxy awaiting him. Williams' music again builds and builds and builds, conveying all the longing inside of Luke and all the promise he has. But it's also tinged with a little bit of hint of sadness. For such a short piece of music, its impact is even more impressive. Number 3. From The Phantom Menace, Duel of Fates. The most unique track of the prequel trilogy, and it's one of the best pieces of music found in any Star Wars films, employed during the climactic Darth Maul versus Obi-Wan versus Qui-Gon Jinn duel of The Phantom Menace, and also recurring during Anakin's search for his mother in Attack of the Clones. Duel of Fates features a choir almost throughout, punctuated with hits of brass and strings. A tempo that slows then quickens, and a wall of sound that grows and grows and grows. What's most interesting is that the piece feels neither like good or bad. It's complex, with dark and light sounds pulling back and forth, not taking a side. As such, there's really nothing else like it in the saga. Number 2. The Imperial March from The Empire Strikes Back, signifying the might of the Galactic Empire. The Imperial March is an optimus work that has become possibly the most popular music in Star Wars. As a symphonic leitmotif, it is one of the most successful ever. The Imperial March is used throughout The Empire Strikes Back, first heard in a full arrangement with the reveal of the Imperial fleet and Return of the Jedi, and is featured at points throughout the prequel trilogy. But like other great Star Wars tracks, it's versatile. Note Darth Vader's death scene, in which it's played only a harp and sounds more like a lullaby. Still, its full version, with its dark melody and driving militaristic rhythms, is instantly recognizable and remains a classic today. Number 1. The one and only main title from A New Hope. Main title is synonymous with Star Wars, and for good reasons. It opens every Star Wars film with an explosion of sound, and it's also used throughout the saga as an overall theme. William has said that he wanted something with an idealistic, uplifting, but military flair to it, and main title is just about perfect. It's entirely hopeful and energizing, filled with sweeping brass and strings, and an initially humbled melody. Right from the beginning, you know that you're in for a romantic adventure, and it never feels forced or disingenuous. One of the all-time greatest themes in film history. Well, there you have it. Those were the top 10 best songs composed by John Williams within Star Wars. What do you think? Did we nailed it? Are we out of our minds? Did we overlook something? Is there any song you would have loved to have been featured on this top 10? Let me know in the comments down below. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, super important. You can also follow me on my Andrew Van Zark music channel and on my Twitch, www.twitch.tv/AndrewVanZark, to interact with the live show on the chat down below. I'll catch you on the flip side. Adios, amigos. And now they're listening to Van Zark. You're now listening with power. Power to the music. May the force be with you. And as always, sayonara. Stay strong. This was the Star Wars Chatter, hosted by Andrew Van Zark. If you have any thoughts or any messages that you want to leave me, go check me out on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Or my website, www.andrewvanzark.com. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Sayonara. When you listen to Andrew Van Zark, you listen with power. Now, you're listening with power. Andrew Van Zark. Stream on every major music platform. Power to the music.